Welcome to a Millennial's Guide to Real Estate Investing. Here is your host, Antoine Martel.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I wanted to get on here today to chat a little bit about how to buy turnkey rental properties without W-2 income. As you guys know, I own a company called Martel Turnkey where we sell turnkey rental properties to people who are interested in growing their rental property portfolios out of state. So I do help a lot of investors, make their first investment in real estate. And many of those lenders do have W-2 income. They have good, solid jobs. They don't have the time to go and manage these properties or find the deals, etc. So I'm that resource for them. But again, many of these people do have full-time jobs, which means they're making good money, which means that they can get conventional financing. And what W-2 income means is W-2 income is income that you have from a job that goes on your normal tax return. So if you are, an employee at any company, then you do have some sort of W-2 income. The other type of income is called 1099, which also counts and makes you eligible to get Fannie Mae financing from these commercial lenders, which lend on 30-year terms at the lowest interest rate possible, around 5.5%. So I have, been helping these people get regular conventional financing, but I recently just helped one of my investors buy rental properties, a couple of rental properties without W-2 income. So this gentleman owns his own business. He doesn't have any set W-2 income. He runs everything through his business, so he doesn't take any money out of the company, but he does have cash in the bank account, which he uses and that he has available. So what can somebody do when they aren't a regular employee? You own your own business, you're making good money with your business, and you want to invest in real estate, and you can't get conventional financing? So that's what I'm going to answer with this quick little podcast. So the first thing that I did was I went and found an asset-based lender. So what an asset-based lender is they are a company who will give you a loan based solely on the financials of that property. So the cash flow that that property generates, they'll pretty much just look at the cash flow, the profit and loss statement for that rental property. Then they'll do an appraisal, make sure the property is worth that amount of money, and then they'll lend you based on that appraisal that they get back. So that is what we did with this investor. I have an asset-based lender that I referred them to who has great terms, 30-year amortization, a little bit higher of interest rate, but they were actually able to give one of my clients a loan based on just the appraisal and the cash flow that the property generates. They didn't ask for any tax returns. They just wanted to see that they had enough money in their bank account for the down payment, and that's it. The second, and also, by the way, if you guys are looking for an asset-based lender and you're looking for that person, shoot me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram name is Martel Antoine, and I'd be happy to refer you over. You can also send me an email, antoine@martelturnkey.com. We'll be happy to introduce any of you guys who are looking for an asset-based lender to help you get finance for your first, second, third, or 150th rental property. So that's one option, is using those asset-based lender, and that was terrific. It was probably the fastest and most seamless, property purchase that I've ever encountered. Literally just did the appraisal, made sure he had the money in the bank account, and that was it. It was incredible. And it was also pretty good terms for being a non-conventional lender. The second option would be finding a commercial lender who lends on portfolio loans. So there's many of these banks out there. Some credit unions are actually like this, where they will do portfolio loans. So what you want to look for when you are doing your research is commercial lenders who do portfolio loans. And then whatever type of asset class you're looking for, right? So if you want to do a small multifamily, then type in multifamily portfolio loans. And so a portfolio loan is a loan that is typically on one or more units. So we've done in the past where we've had 4 single-family homes, and we've done a portfolio loan cash-out refinance. So it's anything that's over one unit. So typically these commercial lenders won't help you get financing on just a single-family home. Most of the time is because the purchase price is just too small for them. So they do want to lower that that risk for them. And many of these portfolio lenders do have loan minimums. And the reason why is because many of these commercial lenders who do these portfolio loans have pretty high fees. So that's something that you do want to watch out for when talking to these portfolio lenders. You want to watch out for their fees. Something else to watch out for with these portfolio lenders and even the asset-based lenders, there's a couple of things you want to watch out for. High fees. So many of them will have underwriting fees, then they'll have the appraisal fee, then they'll have just, their fee for doing business. And sometimes those can be as low as 1 point. Sometimes they can be as high as 5, 6, 7 points. It all depends on really the loan amount. So many of these lenders do have loan amounts of, $75,000, $100,000. And that's why it kind of makes sense if you are looking at, buying a rental property and using one of these lenders because you don't have W-2 income, to actually find a couple of single families or find a small multifamily property and then using ththese lenders to fund those deals, because then the fees are going to start to make sense, right? So if you're just trying to buy a single family home for $70,000, and you have $5,000 in fees, now it doesn't really make much sense. Now you're paying 7-8% in points alone just to get that loan, and it doesn't make sense anymore. So try to bundle a couple of properties or find a property with a purchase price, maybe in the $200,000, $300,000 range to do that purchase on. It'll just make those high fees that whether the asset-based lender or the commercial lender is going to charge you. And the way that I found these people was honestly just going through Google. I typed asset-based lender in the city that I was looking to help my client buy that rental property in. And that's what we did. I just went through Google and just typed, asset-based lender or portfolio loan, single family home. And there's a ton of lenders that you can find that way. And what I would do is I would just start cold calling them, letting them know that you're a real estate investor. You're looking to buy rental properties. You want to know what their loan minimums are. You want to know what their fees are. You want to know what their loan to value ratios are. And that you're interested in buying some properties, but you have the catch is that you don't have any W-2 income. So you need their help. With that, you want to make sure that they don't, do conventional Fannie Mae loans. You want to make sure that they're a commercial lender, and that they don't really care about your W-2 income. So, you can be as blunt as saying, hey, I run everything through my business to save money on taxes. I don't have any W-2 income. Is that okay with you guys? I don't want to waste any more of your time. So I did that, probably 20 or 30 companies, and found a handful, probably like 7 or 8 companies who didn't really care too much about the W-2 income side of things. They just cared about the asset, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So once I went through and found those 20 or 30 lenders, I just gave them all a call. Then I created a spreadsheet to keep track of them all, and to keep track of all their term sheets. So that's what you're going to ask these companies for, is their term sheets. Those term sheets will show their fee amount, how much the interest rates will be, and then what their loan to value ratio is. So you want to have a very high loan to value ratio, probably around 70 to 80%. Some of these commercial lenders will lend you, LTVs of 60 or 50%, and LTV stands for loan to value. So again, they're gonna underwrite your property. They're gonna do an appraisal on that property, and if the value comes back at $100,000, some banks are going to lend you $60,000, which would be a 60% LTV, and some banks are going to lend you $80,000, which is going to be an 80% LTV, where you'll only have to come up with $20,000 out of your pocket, which is great. And then again, just to reiterate, you may want to find some bigger deals before actually going and talking to these commercial lenders. Just because if you're just trying to finance a single family home without W-2 income, in the $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 purchase price range, they may not be worth it due to the fees. The lender that I'm personally working with, who is an asset-based lender, they have a loan minimum of $100,000. And I found that a lot through my research, through calling these companies, that they do have loan minimums. And if they don't have loan minimums, then they do have points or fees minimum. So for example, maybe we have fees of 3% of the loan amount or $2,500. But if you're doing a loan for, $50,000, that $2,500, is 5 points now, which is really expensive. So that is all. I just wanted to get on and talk to you guys a little bit more about that, and wanted to share with you guys that it is possible to get rental properties and starting to build your rental property portfolio without a W-2 income. It certainly is possible if you do own your own business, you have some cash in the bank, to go and find lenders who are going to lend you those funds based on the property. They're going to look at the property solely. And of course, if you're going to do multifamily, 20 plus units, loans over $1 million, let's talk a little bit bigger now. Those loans are certainly possible, and much more possible, way easier than getting a $100,000 loan from an asset-based lender. Than it's much easier to get a loan for $2 million on a multifamily without W-2 income than it is to get a loan on a $100,000 or $200,000 property without W-2 income. So just keep that in mind. If you are struggling with financing rental properties, in the 1 to 4 unit range that have low purchase prices because you don't have W-2 income, if you have the cash to do it, you may want to look a little bit bigger. And if you have $300,000-$400,000, then you may want to look at some little bit larger deals where the loans are $1 million. Then you get into the realm of using Fannie Mae backed small multifamily financing. And those are loans anywhere from $1 to $5 million. And those are non-recourse. They don't require any W-2 income or tax returns really. They just want to see your credit score. And then it's mostly about the cash flow of that rental property or that multifamily property. So that's something to keep in mind too if you are having trouble with this. But again, if you need any more help, if you're looking for asset-based lenders in your city, I have a couple who may be able to help you. Feel free to reach out to me, email me, DM me. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know there's many of you out there who own your own business who are struggling to get financed. I know that my dad and I, both own our own business, and for us, when we first started out, before we knew any of this stuff, it was hard for us to get a loan for $40,000 because we ran everything through our company. So we know what the struggles are, and we know that through our research and stuff like that these lenders are out there and they're ready to make loans to you. They're just a needle in the haystack. So good luck out there. Let me know if you guys need any help. Feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for listening. See you next week.